Here's the hard truth. You think you're ready. You've got the gear, the plan, the escape route. But what you don't realize is that some of the things you're carrying could make you a target, not of nature, not of chaos, but of people. Armed, desperate, watching. One wrong item in your pack doesn't just put you at risk. It paints a bullseye on your back. When the system crumbles, there's no law, no order, no safety net. What's in your bag could be the very thing that gets you hunted. While everyone's busy stockpiling and prepping, they're overlooking a dangerous truth. Some of those so-called essentials could cost them their lives. In a world without rules, your supplies don't just make you prepared, they make you visible. And visibility? That's a death sentence. The tools, gadgets, and gear you think make you strong, they make you stand out. And in a collapse, standing out is the last thing you want. Today we're breaking down 9 items that could turn you into a walking target. If any of these are in your pack, it's time to rethink your strategy before someone else decides to take it from you. 1. The danger of portable gas stoves. In a post-collapse world, cooking isn't just about survival, it's a risk. And nothing screams, "I've got resources," louder than a portable gas stove. These compact, efficient tools are a prepper favorite, but they come with a hidden danger. They make you visible. The moment you ignite one, you're sending out signals, loud, invisible signals. The hiss of the ignition? It carries. The smell of cooking food? It travels far and fast. The glow of the flame? It's visible from angles you'd never expect. In a world where people are cold, starving, and desperate, the scent of a hot meal is like a beacon. Desperation clouds judgment. If someone catches even a whiff of food, they'll follow it. And when they find you, it won't be for a friendly chat. Your stove doesn't just cook, it advertises. It tells people you have food, fuel, and maybe more. The solution? Cook like a ghost. If you must use a gas stove, do it in a sealed, enclosed space. No open windows, no light leaks, no cooking at night. Early morning is your safest bet. Cook quickly, clean up thoroughly, and erase all traces. In a world without rules, the smell of food can be as dangerous as a gunshot. 2. The glow that gives you away. Mini solar lanterns seem like a prepper's dream. Compact, rechargeable, and reliable. But in a true collapse, that little light could be your undoing. When the world goes dark, light becomes a signal. A flicker in the distance says, "Someone's there." A steady glow says, "Someone's comfortable." And a bright lantern? That screams, "I've got what you don't." Imagine this. It's been weeks without power. People are hungry, exhausted, and desperate. Then, from a distance, someone spots your lantern glowing through a window or under a tarp. They don't know who you are, but they know one thing. You have something they need. That's all it takes to make you a target. The problem isn't the lantern itself. It's how you use it. To stay safe, you need to be smart. Shield the light. Use red filters to reduce visibility. Never use it near windows or in open spaces. If you're outside, block the glow with barriers. And never leave it unattended. Light is essential for survival, but it's also a liability. In the dark, even the smallest glow can draw attention you can't afford. Stay lit, but stay hidden! 3. The risk of collapsible water containers. Collapsible water jugs are a prepper's best friend. Lightweight, foldable, and capable of carrying large amounts of water. But in a collapse, they can also be your biggest liability. Here's the reality. Water will be the most valuable resource. Not gold, not fuel, water. Most people won't have access to clean sources. They'll be scavenging from gutters, puddles, and broken pipes. But if you're seen confidently filling a clean, collapsible jug, you're sending a dangerous message. You're telling everyone 2 things. You know where to find clean water, and you'll probably be back. That's all it takes to turn you into a target. Suddenly, you're not just another survivor. You're a map to a resource. And in a desperate world, that makes you a threat. The issue isn't the jug itself, it's how visible it is. A large, clear container screams, "Follow me!" And once someone sees where you're getting your water, good luck keeping that source a secret. The fix? Be discreet. Use smaller containers in public and fill them quickly. Store them deep in your pack out of sight. Only use your large jug when you're certain no one is watching, or under the cover of darkness. And never leave it outside your shelter. It's a dead giveaway. Water is life, but in a lawless world, showing you have it can cost you everything. Stay quiet, stay low, and don't let your water jug become your downfall. 4. The risk of branded first aid kits. In everyday life, a first aid kit is a symbol of preparedness. But after a collapse, that little red bag with the white cross becomes a flashing sign that screams, "I've got what you need." Most preppers proudly strap their first aid kits to the outside of their packs for easy access. But in a world where desperation rules, that visibility is a dangerous mistake. When society crumbles, people won't be scavenging for electronics or luxuries. They'll be hunting for medical supplies. Antibiotics, painkillers, bandages, antiseptics, these will be worth more than gold. And if someone spots that iconic red bag on your gear, you've just become a walking pharmacy. The problem isn't just the kit itself, it's the assumptions people make. They'll think you have life-saving meds, maybe even morphine or insulin. And in a world where people are injured, sick, or protecting loved ones, they won't ask nicely. They'll take the solution? Ditch the branding. Remove the red bag and the cross. Repack your supplies into plain, unmarked pouches. Store them deep in your pack or hidden in your shelter. Better yet, split your kit into smaller, less noticeable bundles. That way, if one gets stolen, you won't lose everything. And never, ever pull out your medical supplies in front of strangers. Once people know you have medicine, you're no longer just surviving. You're a target. In a collapse, being in demand is a fast track to danger. 5. The beacon of bright flashlights. Flashlights are a prepper's staple. Practical, reliable, and essential for navigating the dark. But in a post-collapse world, the brighter your flashlight, the bigger the risk you're taking. When the grid goes down and the nights are pitch black, even the smallest beam of light becomes a signal. A flicker in the distance says, "Someone's there." A steady glow says, "Someone's prepared." And a high-powered tactical flashlight? That's a neon sign that screams, "I've got resources!" Picture this. The city is silent, the streets are dark, and you're using your flashlight to check a trail or clear a room. From 100 yards away, someone sees the beam cutting through the night. They don't know who you are, but they know you have working gear. And in a world where batteries and power are scarce, that's all they need to know to start following you. The problem isn't just the light, it's what it represents. A functioning flashlight suggests you have more. Batteries, supplies, maybe even food or fuel. It doesn't matter if it's true. The perception alone is enough to make you a target. To stay safe, use flashlights with adjustable brightness. Stick to dim settings or red light, which is harder to spot from a distance. Shield the beam with your hand or fabric to prevent reflections. Never wave it around and never leave it on longer than necessary. And if you're in an open area, think twice before turning it on. Light travels faster than sound, and in a world without power, it's a luxury that can cost you everything. Stay dark, stay hidden, and keep your flashlight from becoming your downfall. 6. The silent threat of propane tanks. Before the collapse, a propane tank was just a tool for grilling burgers or heating a campsite. But in a world without power, that same tank becomes a symbol of survival and a magnet for trouble. Propane is versatile, portable, and incredibly valuable. You can cook with it, heat with it, even power certain tools. But that's exactly why it's so dangerous to carry. In a desperate world, a propane tank doesn't just say, "I'm prepared." It says, "I have what you don't." Imagine hauling a propane tank into your shelter. To you, it's just fuel. But to someone watching, it's a lifeline. They see hot meals, clean water, and warmth on freezing nights. They don't care if the tank is full or empty. The fact that you have it means you're better off than they are. And that's all it takes to make you a target. People might not even want your food or stove. They'll want the tank itself. Because in a world of scarcity, propane is power. So how do you stay safe? First, never transport propane during the day. Move it under the cover of darkness, and always keep it concealed with tarps, blankets, or garbage bags. Second, store it out of sight. Don't leave it outside your tent or next to your shelter. Bury it, hide it, or lock it away. And most importantly, don't talk about it. The less people know about your resources, the safer you'll be. Propane may be silent, but the attention it attracts is anything but. In a collapse, keeping your fuel hidden could mean the difference between survival and becoming someone else's target. 7. The trap of heavy cookware. In a stable world, a Dutch oven or large cooking pot is just smart kitchen gear. Durable, reliable, and perfect for cooking hearty meals. But in a collapse, it's not just cookware. It's a signal. A signal that says, "I've got more than I need." Here's the reality. If you're using a Dutch oven after everything falls apart, it sends two clear messages. First, you've got enough food to cook in bulk. Second, you've got the time, resources, and fuel to cook it properly. That's not normal in a crisis. That's rare, and rare things get noticed. The problem isn't just the pot itself, it's what it represents. The smell of food simmering in a heavy pot doesn't just linger, it travels. Cooking rice, beans, or stew in one of these thick pots creates an aroma that can drift for blocks. And for people who are starving, that scent is like a homing beacon. Even worse, the Dutch oven itself becomes a symbol. These things are heavy. No one carries one unless they've set up a base. So now you're not just cooking. You're telling the world you're settled, stocked, and possibly well-armed. That's how you attract attention you don't want. The solution? Cook small and cook fast. Use smaller, less conspicuous pots that don't scream family feast. Never leave cookware visible outside your shelter or hanging from your pack. And whatever you do, don't cook when the smell can travel, especially at night. In a world where everyone's hungry, it's not just the food they're after. It's what they think you have behind it. And that heavy pot? That's the bait. 8. The danger of a thermos flask. A thermos flask might seem like an innocent everyday item, but in a post-collapse world, it's a silent announcement that you're living better than everyone else. Holding one doesn't just mean you're carrying a drink. It means you've got resources. Think about it. When everyone else is freezing, thirsty, and struggling to boil even a cup of water, you pull out a thermos with hot tea, coffee, or soup. That's not just a luxury, it's a statement. A statement that says, I have fuel, I have clean water, I have comfort. And that's exactly what makes it dangerous. In a world where warmth is rare and firewood is precious, having something hot to drink tells people you've got what they don't. It suggests you have fire or gas to heat with, a source of clean water, and maybe even food. And while you know it's just a flask, others will see it as a symbol of control and stability. Two things they desperately want. Even the flask itself can be a problem. A shiny steel thermos looks expensive and durable, making it a high-value item. People won't just wonder what's inside. They'll assume it's something worth taking. So how do you stay safe? First, never drink from your thermos in public. Step away, stay out of sight, and keep it quick. Second, disguise the flask. Wrap it in tape, scuff it up, and take away the shine. Third, never leave it out in your camp. One glimpse is all it takes for someone to start wondering what else you've got. A thermos keeps things hot, but it also heats up the wrong kind of attention. Use it wisely, hide it well, and never let it make you the warmest person in the room. Because in a collapse, that warmth could make you the first target. 9. The hidden risk of mosquito repellents. In the chaos of a collapse, most people won't think about bug spray or mosquito coils. They'll be too focused on food, water, and shelter. But when the days get hot and the nights get humid, biting insects become more than just an annoyance. They become a serious threat. Malaria, dengue, and infections from scratching aren't minor issues anymore. They're life-threatening. That's why insect repellent becomes a survival essential. But here's the catch. If you're the only one not scratching, the only one not swatting at your arms and neck, people will notice. Mosquito coils, sprays, and lotions all have one thing in common. They smell. Some are strong, some are subtle, but all are noticeable. In a world where everyone is filthy, sweaty, and struggling, the scent of citronella or DEET doesn't just stand out, it travels. If someone walking by your camp catches even a faint whiff, they'll know two things. First, you're not suffering the way they are. Second, you've got supplies they don't, and that's where the danger begins. Insect protection signals comfort, and comfort is rare. The idea that you've got enough resources to care about bug bites tells people you probably have a lot more. Maybe a stockpile, maybe organization. Either way, you've just become someone worth watching. So how do you stay safe? If you're using repellent, apply it away from camp and under clothing to minimize the scent. For coils or smoke-based repellents, only burn them when no one's nearby, and never use them in open-air zones where the smell can drift. Dispose of packaging and used coils far from where you sleep. Insect protection is necessary, but like everything in a collapse, it has to be quiet, hidden, and untraceable. Because the moment you smell better than the person next to you, they'll start asking questions. And questions in a desperate world often lead to conflict. A mosquito coil won't kill you, but the comfort it represents might. In a collapse, it's not just the dangers you see that can hurt you. It's the comforts you show, the signals you send, and the attention you draw. Stay hidden, stay quiet, and don't let the little things make you a target. 10. The trap of tactical clothing and gear. Tactical gear looks tough. It screams readiness. But in a real collapse, that's exactly the problem. The moment you strap on that mole vest, those camo pants, or those blacked-out tactical boots, you've painted a target on your back. You're not just blending in, you're broadcasting. And what you're saying is loud and clear. I'm armed, trained, and prepared. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Looking like a soldier doesn't make you safer. It makes people nervous. It makes you a priority. And in a world without rules, a priority is often the first to be eliminated. Why? Because people assume you're carrying weapons, supplies, maybe even high-value intel. Desperate people will view you as a threat, not a fellow survivor. Some might think you're ex-military with a stockpile hidden nearby. Others might simply want what you appear to have. And if things get violent, which they will, you're not just fighting to protect your gear. You're fighting to survive the reputation that gear gives you. Even worse, tactical gear stands out. In a post-collapse environment where people are wearing tattered jeans and scavenged clothes, your pristine, coordinated kit makes you impossible to ignore. That bright multicam pattern or those armored knee pads? They don't say I'm surviving, they say I have more than you. So what's the move? Blend in. Drop the overt tactical look and go gray man dot. That means neutral tones, worn-out gear, mismatched clothing, anything that makes you look average. Repurpose your molo pouches into a basic backpack. Swap the tactical boots for old sneakers. Hide your strength. Disguise your preparedness. In a world gone mad, being underestimated is your greatest advantage. Don't dress like a warrior. Dress like a ghost. Because in a true collapse, the one who looks harmless walks away. The one who looks dangerous becomes a magnet. Survival isn't about who's the toughest, it's about who's invisible. Be ready, but never let them see it. 11. The risk of two-way radios and communication gear. In a collapse, information becomes power. And those who can communicate, especially over long distances, hold a massive advantage. That's why so many preppers invest in two-way radios, ham sets, and even satellite communicators. On paper, it's smart. You can coordinate, gather intel, call for help. But here's the hidden danger. Communication devices don't just send messages. They send signals, and those signals can get you killed. Let's start with the obvious. If you're using a radio, you're transmitting. And if someone has a receiver, or worse, a scanner, they can hear you. Every word, every plan, every location you accidentally give away. You might think you're being cautious, using code words or whispering. But in a world filled with desperate people and former military or law enforcement types who know how to monitor frequencies, even vague chatter can give you away. And once someone locks onto your voice or pinpoints your area, they don't need to find your exact coordinates. They just need a direction to start hunting. But it gets worse. Some radios emit a low but detectable signal that can be traced with the right gear. Yes, that kind of equipment is rare. But not impossible, especially if someone finds it in an abandoned police cruiser, military outpost, or emergency shelter. Once they triangulate your signal, they're coming. And they won't be curious. They'll be armed. Even handheld walkie-talkies can be a liability. You think you're safe, talking to your group a mile away, but if someone intercepts it, you've just confirmed you're not alone. You've confirmed there's a group, and where there's a group, there's likely supplies. So how do you fix it? First, use communication gear sparingly, only when absolutely necessary. Keep messages short and coded. Never share your exact location over an open frequency. Second, switch channels frequently. The longer you stay on one, the easier it is to track. Third, assume someone is always listening. Always. And lastly, never keep your gear visible. A clipped radio on your vest tells the world you're connected. That alone makes you valuable and vulnerable. In a collapse, silence isn't just golden, it's survival. The moment you key that mic, you're not just reaching out, you're being heard. And sometimes the ones listening aren't allies, they're predators. 12. The danger of overstuffed bug-out bags. A fully loaded bug-out bag might feel like the ultimate badge of survival. You've got it all. Fire starters, multi-tools, MREs, tarps, medkits, ammo, filters. Everything you need to outlast the collapse. But here's the brutal truth. In a lawless world, the more prepared you look, the more people will want what you have. That overstuffed pack on your back? It doesn't say survivor. It says walking supply depot. Imagine this. You're moving through a collapsed city, quiet and careful. You think you're doing it right, head down, eyes alert, but your bulging backpack bounces with every step, the straps straining, the contents shifting audibly. To someone hiding in the shadows, you don't look cautious. You look loaded. And in a world where food is scarce, medicine is priceless, and tools mean power, you're not just an opportunity, you're a target. The weight alone is a giveaway. People see you struggling under a heavy load, and they know it's not for nothing. No one carries that kind of weight unless it's valuable. And in a desperate world, people don't ask what you've got. They assume it's worth killing for. Even worse, if you're caught off guard and have to drop your pack to run or fight, you just lost everything. Years of prepping, gone in seconds. So how do you avoid this trap? Go lean. Reevaluate every single item in your bag. Ask yourself, do I really need this to survive the next 72 hours? Strip your load down to the true essentials. Water, fire, shelter, first aid. Everything else is extra weight and extra risk. Use hidden pouches, sew pockets into your clothing, and distribute supplies so you're never a single loss away from disaster. And whatever you do, never flaunt your pack. Keep it dull, dirty, and boring. No bright colors. No flashy attachments. Just another traveler trying to make it out alive. Because in a world where desperation reigns, carrying everything could mean losing everything. Travel light, move smart, and never let your bag become your coffin. 13. The threat of visible firearms. In normal times, carrying a firearm can be a sign of safety, strength, and preparedness. In a collapse, it's a flashing neon sign that says, "I'm armed and probably well-stocked." You might think that open carrying your rifle or strapping a pistol to your hip makes you untouchable. But in a lawless world, it doesn't scare people away, it draws them in. Because a visible gun doesn't just represent protection, it represents power. And power in desperate times is something people are willing to kill for. Here's what most folks don't understand. When society breaks down, the rules change. The people you encounter aren't law-abiding citizens anymore. They're hungry, scared, and driven by survival instincts. Some may see your weapon and walk away. But others? They'll see it as a challenge. Or worse, an opportunity. If you've got a gun, they assume you've got ammo. If you've got ammo, you've got supplies. And if you've got both, you're a threat to their survival, or a shortcut to their next meal. You might never see them coming. While you're marching through rubble with your AR-15 slung across your chest, someone's watching. Waiting. Maybe they've got a group. Maybe they've got numbers. Maybe they've got nothing to lose. So what do? Conceal. Ditch the tactical cosplay and blend in. Carry your weapon in a discreet sling or backpack. Use clothing that hides your holster. Practice drawing from concealment, not intimidation. A hidden gun is far more effective than a visible one. It gives you the element of surprise and avoids confrontation before it starts. And remember this. In a post-collapse world, the person who shows off their strength gets tested first. The one who hides it lives longer. Firearm should keep you alive, not put a target on your back. Stay armed, stay ready, but above all, stay invisible. 14. The risk of luxury or clean clothing. You might not think twice about wearing a clean t-shirt, a quality rain jacket, or those high-end hiking boots you bought for your Bugout bag. But in a collapse, looking too clean, too well-dressed, or too put together is a serious liability. Because when the world falls apart, looking like you're doing better than everyone else is enough to make you a threat. Or a target. Here's why. After weeks or months of collapse, most people will look ragged. Clothes torn, boots falling apart, skin dirty and sunburned. If you stroll into an area looking freshly scrubbed with a waterproof North Face jacket and pristine tactical gloves, people notice. And what they see isn't just a guy who's staying dry. They see someone who's prepared. Someone who's clean. Someone who's got soap, running water, maybe even shelter, and definitely supplies. To a desperate person, that jacket isn't just a jacket. It's insulation they don't have. It's a sign you've got gear they could use. And in that moment, you stop being another face in the crowd. You become a walking upgrade. Even subtle details can betray you. Bright colors, synthetic fabrics that don't show wear, or new boots with barely a scuff. These are things people notice when they're living day to day in filth and pain. The solution? Grunge it down. Intentionally dirty your gear. Use duct tape patches. Mix and match clothes like you scrounge them. Let yourself blend in with the decay. You don't want to look like a leader. You want to look like you're barely scraping by. Because in a world where comfort is rare, cleanliness doesn't earn respect. It invites suspicion, envy, and violence. Dress to disappear. Because sometimes surviving means looking like you've got nothing left to take. 15. The mistake of setting up in obvious shelter locations. When disaster strikes, your first instinct might be to seek the strongest, safest-looking shelter you can find. An abandoned cabin, a remote RV, an old ranger station, or even a well-built home on the outskirts of town. But here's the problem. If it looks secure to you, it looks secure to everyone else too. And in a collapse, obvious shelter isn't safety. It's bait. Think about it. You come across a sturdy-looking building still intact with a roof, maybe even a fence. It seems perfect. So you move in, set up your gear, light a fire, and think you've scored big. But here's what you didn't see. You just walked into a spotlight. Everyone out there, scavengers, looters, desperate families, is looking for exactly what you found. And now that you've taken it, they're watching, waiting, maybe even planning how to take it from you. Obvious shelter spots, cabins, old ranger posts, secluded homes aren't hidden gems. They're honeypots, high-risk targets that attract all the wrong attention. If it looks like it would make a great survival base, odds are someone else already thought the same. Or worse, someone left it behind because it was compromised. So what's the smart move? Think like a ghost. Avoid the picturesque shelter and look for the overlooked. A collapsed garage, a storage unit, a storm drain with an improvised cover. Places that look uncomfortable, unstable, or uninviting. The kind of spots no one would bother to check twice. Build cover, not comfort. And when you do set up shelter, never leave signs of life. No smoke, no light leaks, no fresh footprints or moved debris. Even a shiny piece of trash outside your hideout can tell a trained eye someone's there. In a true collapse, real security doesn't come from walls. It comes from obscurity. The safest shelter is the one no one ever finds. So forget the dream cabin. Embrace the forgotten, the broken, and the hidden. Because when survival is the goal, invisible beats inviting every single